As I said, the question of motherhood, so important, isn't it, Nora? Every man and woman must ask themselves this question and prepare for the answer, no matter where they are or who they are. So I'm super excited for this workshop together with you. Could you, first of all, though, give us a little bit more information? Who are you and what do you do? Nora, do you want to kick off and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Stephanie, thank you so much for the invitation. I mean, I'm really happy to share information and also like talk about this very important topic of the type question. So having children as a choice, what I'm doing, if I'm undecided, if I'm not sure yet if I want to have children in my life, yes or no. And I would be super curious to know from all of you, why are you here? Like, what are your expectations? Like, why did you choose, okay, wow, that topic sounds exciting, like I want to join, why are you here today?
Amazing. Yes. Perfect. So if you're here with us, could you please put in the chat, why are you here? What would you like to get out of today's session? And obviously, if anyone's having technical difficulties, do let us know and put it in the chat so we can help you with it. Okay. So Nora, you and I will just continue the conversation together until people feel comfortable and willing to share their screen. So at the moment, there's many insecurities about deciding whether to have children or not. In your experience, what's those main ones that you hear a lot?
Yeah, absolutely, Stephanie. Yeah, well, with the type question, maybe to go a little bit further, like I was myself, like why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I realized the insecurities are really great. When I was myself in front of the question, didn't know how to decide. When I was together with my former boyfriend, and he was desperately want to have a child, and was like, Nora, I don't want to be an old father. Like I really want to do this with you. When are we doing it? And I was totally torn because I always thought every woman knows if she wants to have children, yes or no. Everyone knows it. And especially, if you don't want it now, you will know, like you will want it in the future. Like I always thought, hey, you will always want kids, right? So I will, like, maybe we were just doing it, right? And it will be okay. And honestly, I was totally torn. Like, I didn't know what to do, to be honest with you. And I talked to people, like helping, like something which really helped me is like talking to people who are not biased upon the topic, right? And this is also something which I want to put out for today. Also, not talking to people who try to convince you, but I have a very open-minded view about that topic. This is really important if you're unsure. And whether insecurities, to come back to that questions, there are a variety of insecurities because obviously there are people who always know, hey, I want to have children. Like I'm super sure. I even know how many I want. Like I'm totally into that. And obviously there are people who always know, hey, I'm gonna be child free. Like I'm gonna be, like I'm pretty like decided in that as well. And there are people who are torn in between. And this is still a taboo topic because we're not speaking much about this, right? And like the insecurities can come with your work, obviously, like because this is a question like I hear quite often, like how can I balance, if I want to have children, how can I balance work with my private life? And also, can I return to my position? Like I've studied, I've worked my way up, like I'm in a position I really love. Like, can I return to this? Or is it just, in part-time you can't do it anymore? I'm really sorry, right? So these are really big insecurities, especially for women, to be honest with you, who are thinking about, okay, can I really imagine having a child in my life, concerning work issues, for example? Another thing is obviously, your child-free life. You're your boss in your child-free life. How is it going to be if somebody else is taking over? If somebody else is a little boss now, all right, and is taking over for you? Like, how is this going to work? And you're deciding for something you don't know. If you're child free, you don't know what it's going to be like if you want to have children, like how it's going to be when you're having children. It's always
Mm-hmm.
different. Every child is different, right? And
Yep.
so this is also a big insecurity.
Mm-hmm. Of course. So Hannah's put, she's quite similar to you, Nora. She's just not sure about those decisions. So tell us a little bit more. What stage are you at right now?
Me, myself.
Yes.
Okay, right. Yeah. Well, I can totally get that, Hannah. Thank you for putting that out. And to be honest with you, I'm decided now. Like I'm totally clear what I want, and I'm like it's super individual. So it's not like how I decided. Like also when I'm working with clients, it's super like I'm putting myself always away. Like it's not about my opinion or like what I think about it. It's always an individual choice. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm working more towards how can you find your sound answer? What is helping you in the end of the day to find your sound answer? Because if you're really undecided, it can be hard. There are comments from outside, from people who are trying to put pressure on you, and which can be hard. And it's important to stay true to yourself in the end of the day, and to talk to people who are open-minded in the end of the day. And I also, when I was undecided in the past, like I talked also to my coaching peers, always in a coaching setting to be sure, okay, this is an open-minded process and a neutral process also, like there's no opinion involved. And this really helped me to find my sound answer in the end of the day.
Okay. So we've spoken about the pressures of the childhood question. Obviously, we've got the society pressures, we've got the work pressure, the biological clock as well, as your own kind of struggle. How do you balance those and how do you make the final decision?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so we talked about the pressures as well, and this can be a lot. And I mean, this is all in your inside, right? This is something which is, like one day the child question is super present, and then it's there, and then other projects are more important, and you're focusing on different stages in your life. But this can create a lot of pressure, and then it's really hard to stay true to yourself. In the end of the day, one thing I would like to recommend, if you're not sure, if you have not found your sound answer in the child question yet, is not one thing not to do is a pro and cons list, right? Because a pros and cons list will bring you even deeper in your concerns. Because on both sides, there will be very, very good arguments why to become children or why not to become children, right? So this is, this is going to just bring you deeper in the concerns. But one thing I would like to put out for today, which is really helpful. So if there are listeners today who are torn in the child question today, one thing which really helps is to imagine what is your 10 out of 10 perfect life vision. If you look in the future and you're like, wow, like this is how I imagine my perfect life. This is a 10 out of a 10. This is feels really, really good when I think about work, when I think about hobbies, when I think about my relationships. This really feels fulfilling for me. How is it supposed to look like? Where am I? With whom am I? What am I doing in this moment when everything feels absolutely perfect? And then ask yourself, are there children in this version? If this
Mm-hmm.
perfect version is a 10 out of a 10, are there children? And if they're not children, then imagine, okay, if this is a 10 out of a 10, if I would add children onto that, how is the attractiveness changing? Is it even that you're like, wow, this is even better? Like I could imagine a version of my like future vision, which is even better. Like if I put that on top, or is it like, oh wow, yeah, I feel there's a difference, and maybe the child-free version is a little bit better. This is the first try actually to move towards to your thoughts, to your beliefs, your what you want, what you really want at the end of the day, rather than putting a pros and cons list up, which is
Mm-hmm.
bringing you deeper into the
Yeah.
concerns.
I mean, they do say there's never the right time to have children. So I quite like that. Look 5 to 10 years and see almost what the end goal is and how you can picture yourself.
Mhm.
Um, I experienced it when I first got married, and people asked, when are you having children? And you get that type of pressure, let alone, the society pressure. You might be missing out on the best part of, your life. Children are everything. People sometimes can't believe that people choose not to have children, let's say. So can you explain this and maybe how people can overcome it?
Absolutely. Very, very good point, Stephanie. Because comments, and this is like maybe the bad news, comments will come up everywhere. And there's not much you can do to protect yourself, because it's not only from friends or family or relatives, it's also from people you don't know, right? Like my friend, she was actually asked during a taxi ride why she's not having kids. And like, it's, yeah, because she was like, the taxi driver was like, you must be in your 40s and why you're not having kids, right? Like super, like super, like, so this can be very critical. And then you're like, okay, wow, this is just crossing a line, right? In the end of the day, you're like always, okay, wow, this is crossing a line. And one thing maybe to put is that people are not meaning to do any harm. Like most of the people are just curious and just crossing the line because they're so curious and they just want to know, hey, when are you going? Or like maybe they already know, hey, like I've decided, like I want kids. There's no opportunity. There's no alternative. There's no alternative to like not having kids. Like absolutely not. And they'll be like, okay, when are you doing it? There's not the question if you want to do it. There's a question, when are you going to do it? Because there's no imagination that there might be a desire for a child-free life. And this is the first thing to understand why people are asking, because there's no intention of any harm. Although there can be a lot of pressure, like even though you said, okay, I'm decided, I want to have children, but biologically it's not possible, right? And then these questions can be super, super harmful. If you already decided, like, I want to have children, but biologically you can't have them, right? So this is absolutely crossing a line. So comments from outside concerning the child question are always crossing a line, because you never know where the person is right now, privately. And one thing I would recommend, because it's always frustrating, right? It's always frustrating getting comments. And I recommend putting out there an answer which suits you, which is like, okay, if somebody asks me again, I'm going to put that answer. I'm just going to like put that answer if somebody asks me. And then something you really feel comfortable with. For example, somebody asks you, okay, when are you finally going to have kids? And you could be like, hey, this is a very private question, and I actually don't really feel like talking with you about that. This is quite private. And actually, to be honest with you, you're crossing a line, right? I don't feel comfortable answering the question for you. So it could be something like that. Just be open and be like, hey, this is something private, and I actually really don't feel like talking to you with that. And you could also add something like, when you're asked and not getting frustrated, not getting angry, you could put an anchor. There could be physical, like pinching yourself. And in this moment, tell you something which is more helpful in this moment. To be like, if I want to have children, how I want to have children is my decision only, no matter what everyone else is saying. Right? It doesn't matter what people are saying. It's my opinion, my decision only. And maybe I have not found the answer yet, but I don't need to find it today. Right? I can take my time, because it's a life-changing decision. I can take my time. It's fine.
Yeah, I think you're right. No one means to be intentionally harmful, but these questions, when you're going through difficult things, whether it be finding out you can't have children, or let's say you're going through a miscarriage and you've got that society pressure where you're not supposed to talk about it till 12 weeks. It's all very difficult. It's about kind of grounding yourself, maybe having even some physical grounding moments or some scripts that you're following, so that you've got those answers, so that every time it's not a big wham. Here's that question again, throwing you off track. So that we can direct the questions a little bit better, we're going to put a poll live. So for those in the audience who's listening, Hannah, Claudette, and anyone else, if you wouldn't mind answering the poll for us. So from 1 to 10, how sure are you about having children or not? Where 1 is not at all and 10 is super sure. And then you can pinpoint Nora down a little bit with some of the questions that I have already planned. And of course, we have the expert here with us. If you would like to just simply write any questions in the chat, you don't have to share your screen or join us live on stage. You can just anonymously put your questions in. Okay, perfect. Whilst that's taking place, Nora, so can you recommend, if there's listeners here who are unsure about having children, what they or where they can look for support? So obviously partners, friends, family, but what about their own organizations? What can employees do?
Absolutely. This is a good question because usually I get asked, Nora, why are you working with companies? Like, this is such a private question. Like, if somebody wants to have children, yes or no, and is unsure about it, why are you working with companies? How's it supposed to work? And this is always funny because it's like, oh, okay, this is my business work and this is my private work and this perfect split. And I mean, those of you who might have kids and know the best, if we decide to have children, our work life is heavily influenced by that, right? So if I want, how I'm deciding if I want to stay child free, or if I decide for a life with children, this heavily influence the working life and the company life as well. So my advice to companies is that, because obviously you're not making it transparent. Obviously, you don't want to make transparent who's getting, who's unsure, who is, still undecided, who wants to have children, what. You don't want to make it transparent, but you want to help people and support them and be like very open-minded in terms of a variety of, let's say, life designs. And to say, okay, there are many, many possibilities in terms of relationships, in terms of family. And we want to support you no matter which way you want to go from them. And if you want to use a super individual path, it's fine too. Like, we support you. And this starts with the culture, to build up a culture where you feel like, okay, I can address these topics. Like, I can talk about private topics. And also something I would like recommend companies is to put offers out there where employees feel supported to talk also about private topics, right? Because so we have our private life here, we have our working life, but it's, it's not, you're still the same person at the end of the day, right? And it goes together in the end of the day as well. So to encourage to have like events and like to have opportunities to talk also about private topics and create safe spaces to talk about that is a really big step to move towards that, right? That you feel comfortable as an employee and be like, hey, I feel totally comfortable, no matter also with other topics which are private. Like, I feel totally supported and I feel like my employer supports me however I want to decide, and whatever comes into my private life, I feel supported. Like, there are enough opportunities to talk or enough possibilities to exchange myself, and I always feel safe.
Okay. Have you got any best practices that's worked? Some real examples and initiatives that companies have done?
Well, the ones I've worked with also always have a very big diversity section. Like, I was working, for example, with DB Schenker or with Comb Cranes, for example, and they all have a very big diversity section. And they are totally like, they have lots of offers. And I was giving a speech, for example, at Ford, and this was really good because I could open up the topic, and then like talking just about the the child question. Then we did like a Q&As on a regular basis, and this was an amazing safe space. Like, people were coming over and over again and felt safe to talk either also about the child question, but also about other private things, and be like, hey, I feel this is such a good safe space. And we did that over a year. Every 2 months we were seeing each other, And this was such a good thing to connect people and to be like, also, I'm not alone with my issues, right? Especially in the type question, there's always the idea, hey, I'm alone with that. Like all my friends, they decided, all my friends are getting kids, or like some of them know they want to be child free. And I feel the only one who's undecided, right? Like I feel I'm the freak in the end of the day, and then I'm the only one undecided. And then you realize, no, you're not the only one. There are lots and lots of different situations out there, and individual situations, and also insecurities. And this is a really good safe space to exchange each other.
Yeah, I think it's such a critical conversation, and it's so difficult to approach, even within friends and family, let alone in the workplace. So this is a safe space, and we've invited people to share their screens, their microphones. We're going to try another route, which is Q&A. So we've opened up some Q&A, which you can anonymously ask Nora any question that you'd like to. So we've got the results in from the poll, and they're very varied. We've got a few people, Nora, who's completely undecided. We've got a few people that are decided, whatever route that might be. So I'm going to invite you to take over the floor, share any more examples and case studies that's worked, any advice that you have for those in the audience at those different stages, and I'll keep you posted about the questions as they come in.
Nice.
Okay. So Nora, as the questions come in your experience, what's the biggest question that you're always asked?
How do you mean that? Can you repeat the question?
What's the most common theme when people are questioning a child or not?
Oh, this is really hard to say. Like, I would say one question, like in terms of one question which is asked a lot is like, okay, I'm undecided in the child question. Like, I don't know how to decide, and I'm thinking about not only the changes of my body, like when you're talking about women being undecided, like the changes of my body, but like the question of, okay, I've studied, I've worked my way up, like I found my dream job, and am I giving up this? Like, am I giving this up if I decide for life with children, right? Because I like my life. I really like my life. Like, am I giving this up? Like, is it over? Like,
Yep.
do I like the life which is coming up? And
Yeah, I mean,
this is one thing like which really comes up a lot, and be like also with companies who are supportive, and be like, okay, there are possibilities, but still there is the question and the insecurity of hey, I don't want to be just like I really like what I'm doing. I want to come back to that at some stage. How is this going to work? Like, how is this going to work?
yeah. And I think that's so funny, isn't it? Because they always say you get a handbook for everything, but you don't get a handbook for a baby. I remember even when I did have children and one of them got poorly, and I actually asked the teacher, I said, oh, blah, blah's really struggling with this. She was, well, it's obvious. This is the problem. How did you not know that? And I said, because I've never heard of this medical problem that children go through. So throughout the entire stages, there's always the unknown, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So a question that's come in, do I communicate to my company if I'm thinking about children because I'm worried about what support I may or may not get?
I would, to be honest with you, I mean, it's still a private question, and I would be like, okay, how do you feel with your boss? Like, how do you feel? Do you think this is a conversation um, you would like to have? And to be honest with you, even thinking about it is a good way, because this shows, okay, I would like, I would never talk to my boss about that. But like, when you're asking that question, being like, okay, maybe I'm thinking about talking to my boss, and also evaluating the possibilities, also the support I'm getting if I decide for a life with children. I think if so much trust is there, and really depending what is your gut feeling, like how do you think, okay, how could that work? Like how could that conversation work? Um, this could be a good way to be like, hey, you know what? Like actually, I think about going this way. How can you support me? How could that work? Right?
And you
Because
don't,
yeah.
sorry, and I was going to say, you don't necessarily have to go to your direct line manager. You could go to your colleague who's maybe experienced something, or if you really wanted to go, to HR for the legal professional route, couldn't you?
Absolutely. And also like even with a colleague, like maybe also probably the better decision to be like, okay, yeah, this is a colleague which is really close to me and who already has a child or children, and be like, hey, I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking about that. Could you give me could you tell me your story? Like how is this going to work with the company, and just ask for advice. I think this is a really good idea. Like with someone you feel really comfortable with. I think this could be your boss as well if you want to, but important thing is somebody you really feel comfortable with.
So two more questions. I don't have a partner, but I'm thinking of having a child. What's your advice?
Well, I mean, there are options. As we know, there are options also to have a child without a partner. There are opportunities. It's also very individual situation. It really depends on how you see your future vision. Do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? Is it 10 out of 10 vision for you? Okay, like wow, like I'm there and it's okay. It's just me with a child, and this is amazing. And it's hard, but I can work that out. I'm gonna find resources. I'm gonna find support. I'm gonna
Yeah.
find everything I need to make this happen. This could be a vision, definitely. And to be honest with you, if you already know that you want to have children, that you're thinking about it, I would not necessarily wait for Mr. Right. Because if there are other possibilities, and I mean, for women, there are other possibilities, I would look for ways, always, in line with the future dream, always in line with, okay, what could be a really good vision, what could be something, I could really look for, and
Yeah.
how could I manage having a child also maybe without a partner.
Definitely. It actually reminded me a couple of years ago that Mary Fleur Ravel, she spoke about having twins without a partner, and she contributed to one of our book chapters. So I'm just going to pop that in the chat as I multitask, because that was an incredible story. Like you said, she knew what she wanted. Some people know what promotion they want. Some people know what they want from their personal lives, and just get up and go and get it. Thank you so much. We've got a few more questions. This is better. So, Nora, how do you handle the feeling of guilt when transitioning back to work? The feeling that you're taking time away from your baby? Oh my gosh, I've been here. I'm not sure if you want to go first.
Just let me see if I got that bridge. So you've already decided you want to have that child, and then
Yeah.
the feeling of guilt towards your colleagues or towards your baby, which is alone.
Well, if I answer it first, I remember I went back to work earlier with my second one, and it's that guilt because you feel like you should still be looking after them, you should be spending time with your baby, but you obviously have that pressure maybe to go back to work, or also maybe that desire. So it's about handling your personal guilt.
Okay, got it. Yeah, got it. To be honest with you, this is not my key topic, but I can recommend other people who are coaches concerning the big topic of, hey, I've already decided I want children, I have children, and all the, let's say, concerns coming with it. Like finding also a strategy which is in line with your thoughts and what you want, and I can recommend somebody. But
Okay.
if I needed to answer this question now, it's like I think I can understand that there is a total need to be like, hey, I feel guilty, like I should be 24/7 with my children, right? Because they need me, they're young, they're in an important stage of their life. I think it's important to remind yourself why I'm going to work. Why I'm going to work. If this is so important, why I'm going to work. And this is probably part of your vision, right? Probably part of your vision you've created. Because maybe you said at some stage, okay, like I want to find a way to be there for my children and also to work. And it's okay also at some stage do something for me, right? To be like, okay, like I'm there 100% for my children. And it's okay to sometimes do something for myself as well. And I think this is something a lot of mothers forget at certain stages, to be like, hey, it's completely fine, my children have everything, like the time I have with them is like 100%. And also it's me and also my desires and my life, and sometimes I can remind myself to also do something for me.
Yeah. I would say a couple of things, Srija. The first is obviously society is not built anymore for working mums. You know, we're taught from an early age that we can have it all, and you can't. It's so incredibly difficult to have a career and be a full-time mum. It's about balancing and juggling the balls. It's about learning which ones bounce and which one are glass. It's about having an incredible support network around you. But as Nora said, also spending time for yourself. You know, unless if you are stretched, you're no good to anyone. So you've got to look after yourself so you can perform at work and perform as a mother. And it's quality over quantity. I know kids grow up quickly, but it's those quality moments without your phone, even for an hour a day, is what they will remember. Right, more questions. So, Nora, have you seen a change in mentality in the automotive industry about career development for women and children, specifically newborn or toddlers, which in her opinion are the most challenging stages?
To be honest with you, I cannot answer the question. To be honest with you, like I've worked with a lot of automotive companies, and I see there is a like this is a really important topic, and it's seen, and it's definitely seen. Like I cannot say, like to be honest with you, I'm sorry, I cannot totally answer your question because I cannot like see in which way the development is going, or if. But I can see like the big companies, like I'm working together with Ford, with VW, and they are definitely tagging the topic because, as you said, Stephanie, it's really a big thing, right? And the idea of you can have it all, you can do everything perfect. You're not a machine, right? Like you're not a machine who's like working and functioning every day 100%, right? Like, and it's also important not to forget about yourself, and maybe also, hey, what are the hobbies which are important to myself? Is it okay if I go like to my hobby at some stage to do something for myself? And I'm talking a lot about that, and the diversity departments are also targeting that a lot, and I think again, like I think it's really important to have these safe spaces to talk about that, and to bring people together who want to talk about it, right? And to create an awareness. And as you said, Stephanie, the article, like having it all to being like, okay, no, it will not be, it is a hassle, but it's okay to focus sometimes on this stage, sometimes on this stage, and be like, how, what is a strategy, what is a construct that works for me, right? And it will not always be like every day might be different. And when your children are getting sick, this is also, the first priority then. And
well, this is the next question, Nora.
all right.
So yeah, exactly. They've got one child. and questions are being raised when they have time off, when they're sick. So they're having to adjust their schedule for play dates as well, I believe it says. So this is making them worried about having a second child and having the income to support my family. How can you balance this?
Again, I would I would recommend my friend. Like I can put it, I can put her name later, Stephanie, if you want.
Yep.
Like she's actually focused on that topic because I'm not focused on that topic. I really want to like tell my expertise. Like my expertise is on the child question. So if you're undecided to have children, whether yes or not. And my friend,
Yep.
she's expertise, like she's an expertise on, these questions, right? Like absolutely. And this is a really good question, right? Because you already know okay what it's like to be a mom and what it's like to have to have a child. But the question of a second child financially, in terms of a good structure of the work structure of the day structure, how could that work? How could that work like? And again, I think it's really, really important to think about it first. So it's really good that you asked that question because it shows me that you're thinking about, okay, how is this going to work? Like, how could that work? Because making a plan, making the math, and then also like creating a structure, I think is elementary to like super crucial before deciding or before being like, okay, we're just going to do it because we feel like doing it, to have a strategy before that. And this is something which I'm also telling my coaching clients who are undecided, who are like, okay, probably maybe I could imagine having a child, and be like, okay, if you're together, if you have a relationship with your partner, talking about it before, things may be more complicated, right? You don't know, like every child is different, but still thinking about it. How could it be? How could we, balance our careers, balance our hobbies with our private life, with our children? How could that look like, right? Making a plan before actually going the path, right? I think this is really, really important to create a sound structure, a sound construct, actually before going the way.
Of course. And Hannah's put something in as well, which I think is before. I'm not sure if we know, Hannah, if you have children or not, but she's scared about not getting in the exciting jobs with only a part-time work. I mean, obviously the automotive industry is awful at the minute, isn't it? With any job. In my experience, part-time offers more opportunity and flexibility. I'm not sure what you would say, Nora.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting that you're saying that. That's amazing. That's really good because I think also like I mean, each and every position should be possible in part-time as well. I want to tell you a little story about that because this is something I just love to tell because the idea of, hey, like I'm scared about not getting a good job or like a job I would crave for. And my friend, she's a really good friend living here in Cologne as well, and she has two little children, and she in part time worked herself up as a leader's position. And this is like because many are afraid of, okay, like how is this going to work? And she did the opposite. Like she was working in part-time, like really sharing everything 50-50 with her partner, like they're doing it, like they're really sharing it. And he was going in part-time and then she would work full-time and then they would swap again. And she actually with two little kids and they were like, I think they were 2 and 4. And she worked herself up in a leading, and she's in a leader's position right now. So she
Amazing.
actually did it. She made a career and was there for her children. Like, and she said, like, when she talks about that, she was like, okay, Nora, okay, there's not much room for hobbies, to be honest with you. But this is something I'm putting back for now because my career and my children are more important to me. And this is a choice, right? This is a structure which works for her and her husband and for the children.
And I think it's about bringing that to the company, bringing the solutions to the company. So I know a couple of OEMs recently who've brought back the job sharing which, sounds something new, but it used to be quite common 20 years ago. And two colleagues are working simultaneously, job sharing together. It's different to part-time. It's job sharing. So that could be something, Hannah, to research, look into, and bring to your employer maybe. Okay, perfect. Well, we've got 2 minutes left, part of the conversation. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, for putting in your questions. Any more come through? No, we're all good. Perfect. So, Nora, thank you so much for all your honest feedback, expertise, and knowledge sharing. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm sorry that we couldn't encourage you to share your lovely faces with us, but please next time do get involved, as I get bored of my own voice.
Nice. And maybe one last word. I know this is quite private, and maybe one or the other of you is like, okay, yeah, there's a question in my mind I didn't think about or I didn't want to ask. I'm just going to quickly put in my my website. There's also a Calendly link you could use. Like if you have a question or you're thinking, okay, wow, this is something I want to ask in private, just feel free, contact me. The website is also translated in English, so in English or in German. And just let me know. I know it's a private topic and some questions come up later when you get into the topic. So just let me know and I'd be happy to assist you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nora. We really appreciate you spending the time and sharing your expertise with us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, everyone, for being there. The next virtual event is all about mentorship. It's taking place August 19th. The event is now live, so you're welcome to join us and sign up for that. It's kind of a meetup for our mentees and mentors, but also anyone that's interested in learning more. And then obviously we look forward to seeing you hopefully at our European Summit in Germany, which is 6th of October in Stuttgart. From me, Stephanie May, Women Automotive, thank you so much. And thank you again, Nora. We really appreciate you highlighting this conversation and providing this safe space.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.